Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. This is EA300B, and this is our final revision. I understand that you guys have your final exam on Sunday, right? Is it Sunday? Yeah, it is Sunday.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, and I also gathered that you have done whatever is necessary to kind of move forward and graduate, right? We're all graduating, right? We
Yes,
have people
Yes,
who
inshallah.
are,
inshallah.
Yes, doctor,
inshallah,
inshallah.
will graduate, inshallah. Right. Two things we're going to address ourselves to. Of course, this is summer, and sometimes people confuse videos. I have stuff from previous semesters. So this is the summer of 2024, 2025. Two things we're going to address ourselves to this afternoon. We're going to again stress the expectations, your tutor's expectations, and we are going to go very quickly over them. Anyway, of course, we cannot delve deep into what we have been doing for the past 2 months or so. So it's going to be like headlines and things that you perhaps want me to kind of expand on and perhaps explain. Um, so how is the preparation going? Are you done preparing? Then obviously, I don't know. I mean, we only allow people to have like 12 hours unless you're graduating. So how many of us have two courses? I mean, two 8-hour courses this semester because you're graduating, and otherwise you wouldn't be allowed to have two 8-hour courses. So Shahd, who else? So it's only Shahd, right? So Shahd is obviously, most probably doing EA300A and B, right, Shahd? Okay. So otherwise, people have, I mean, the rest of us have only one 8-hour course. Which means that you have the time to kind of prepare and perhaps prepare again. So I would like you to reassure me that you're either done with your preparation or perhaps halfway through. Where do you stand on preparation? Are you done preparing? Raise your hand. And I'll tell you why I'm asking you this question. Because together with me being reassured that you're doing a good job and everything, I have another reason. So Yazan is ready, and Najwa is ready, Shahd is ready, Ihda is ready. The reason why I'm asking is simply because if you're preparing or halfway through, or if you have done, if you're done with preparation, you come up with questions. So this is how we're going to start. We're going to listen to what you have to say. I mean, the questions that you may have, and then we build on them and then go to the next level. Okay, so if you guys have, because you have prepared, I'm sure you have encountered things that you would like me to demystify at this point. If you have any questions, come to the mic and share them with us. Malak, are you raising your hand, telling us that you have prepared, or you have a question, or what?
Doctor, can I
Uh,
ask, please?
yes, ask.
I want to ask, doctor, please, only about the close reading question. It will be
Mhm.
mandatory at Sunday, yes? Like we should
Um,
solve it.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've been through semesters for so I don't know whether it's going to be mandatory, but it's going to be. I think yeah, it has to be mandatory for some reason.
It's because it's three questions.
I think it's mandatory, yes.
Okay, doctor.
Again, I don't find it difficult or challenging at all because we give you the theme. We tell you that this passage or this part of the book is about this and that. So
Yes,
you
yes,
can
yes, doctor. It's not hard. It's not
yes,
hard.
yeah, but make no mistake about it. It should be an essay. If you're going to attempt it, and you sometimes you have to, like we're saying, you have to. We need to check whether it's going to be mandatory or not. It has to be an essay. You don't write like half a page or three-quarters of a page, because where it is located in the essay part section, and the essay part section is uh, um, for long essays. So it's an essay that you're going to write with the close reading question. Okay, clear,
Yes,
Yazan? Okay.
yes,
Doctor,
yes, yes,
about
doctor.
the other
Okay.
two questions related to the essay part in the final
Mm,
exam, is it
mm.
possible by any way that it might be from one novel, the other two question?
From my experience, you have this fair distribution of questions where the exam cater for all the needs, if you like, where you have questions from everywhere. You have, I mean, coming from the Tale of Peter Rabbit down to Tom's Midnight God. So the idea of perhaps leaving a novel behind because you think it's, I mean, you can do well with the other. I don't, we don't have to, yani, kind of, we cannot afford gambling at this stage, you know.
No, no,
Mm.
I'm not planning to leave any novel, but I'm just asking, is it possible, يعني, have it ever been before? The other two essays out of the three from one novel, have it happened يعني, before?
Um, no, judging from my experience, you normally have, your question is whether we can have only one novel, right? And the essay part, the long essay part, right?
Yeah.
No, normally it's from the two.
Okay. And the other one, the third one is mandatory, right? Which is
Uh,
usually a close reading question.
yeah, normally yes, because yeah, the GCC, believes that it's in your best interest if you leave the course knowing how to analyze, how to break stuff down to its basic components. Because we all have this belief that most essay questions, if it's about the prompt, normally people uh, um, memorize stuff and put them there. So it's the benefit is not that big. So we're trying to make sure that you, until the last moment, you are trying your hand, analyzing and stuff. But again, if you ask me, close reading questions, um, can be to your advantage. You locate the thing and then you start, kind of generating ideas and stuff. It's a good opportunity for everyone, I think. Malak, you're raising your hand. Okay, drop your hand, yeah. Najwa.
Doctor, I just want to make sure that in the close reading, when we get like the passage and the main theme, we're going to discuss the main theme thoroughly by providing examples from the passage, right?
Yeah, you can provide the examples from the passage and you can tie it in with other situations in the novel.
So it's mainly describing the theme that is mentioned in the question by providing an
I
explanation and
wouldn't say
analysis
describing
of
because describing wouldn't give the prompt its proper magnitude and scope. So there is obviously more to the passage than describing it. So the passage is your launching pad, but you don't stop there, and mashallah, you know how to kind of approach those kinds of questions.
Thank you, Doctor.
We we need to end up having a comprehensive essay question that starts with the passage, but it doesn't end there. See?
Yes,
Again, you
okay.
have to be
Thank you.
relevant, you have to be comprehensive, and of course, you have to be clear. This is all done within the framework of the academic essay. You guys are writing academic essays. Don't forget that.
Doctor, the close
Yes,
reading, it may come from the novel or the picture book, yes? Like it may,
no,
like,
this is perhaps like an 80 or a 90% kind of guess. It's normally from the novels.
okay, doctor.
Mm. Any more questions?
Dr. Samah, can we go through
Yes,
one of the close reading examples and do it together, just to make sure everyone get the idea?
that's fine, but I don't have any handy because I'm at home now. If you have a passage, bring it in and let's see how we can handle it.
Just give me a second.
Okay.
And do it
An
see
easy, an easy one, huh?
اوكي.
You know what?
واي احد عنده امثله على الكلوز ريدنج خليه يشارك، انا بدور عندي.
Remember, if you're going to choose one, it has to be significant in the sense that we don't just choose random stuff for you. We normally choose something that is full of ideas, significant ideas. Any more questions before Nawaf brings in his passage? Okay, طيب. Let me again stress what the course needs from you. I mean, our expectations for ideal and perfect answers. Again, we're moving within those three parameters that I've been talking about for so long: the idea of clarity, the idea of comprehensiveness, and the idea of relevance. So clarity, comprehensiveness, and relevance. So let's start with comprehensiveness, because if you're comprehensive and if you're relevant, you should be clear. So comprehensiveness means that you address all the aspects of the question. Again, you need to read the essay, the prompts, whether we're moving on the level of short answers or long essay prompts. So you need to read the question very thoroughly and very carefully, and then you try to go out of your way and to underline the keywords, because questions are about keywords. So keywords, and then what you are required to do with them. So two things you need to kind of consider while reading a question: the keywords, the concepts, and the ideas that you're going to expand on and elaborate on. And the other thing is the instruction words. Sometimes we tell you discuss, we tell you analyze, we tell you describe. So you need to be careful about what is it that we want you to do, okay? So like I said, the first thing would be the concepts or the ideas that we would like you to engage in and with. And the other part is, what is it that we want you to do with those key concepts? We normally ask you to analyze. We normally ask you to elaborate on something. We normally ask you to discuss something. These are the instruction words that we normally use in high stake questions like in this course. So this is how you're going to be comprehensive. Comprehensive means in Arabic shamil. And this comprehensiveness cannot happen unless you address all the aspects of the question, okay? Sometimes you have more than one concept, but they have a bearing on each other. So you need to, first of all, establish a logical relationship between them, and then you go and, kind of put them together with the guidelines that we're giving you, because we don't leave you on your own. We normally give you hints about what is it that we want, especially with close reading questions. So that would solve the problem, okay? So comprehensiveness, again, is about discussing all the aspects of the question. And then comes the idea of relevance. Relevance means that you need to be very focused. You need to know what is required and what we require, not what you require. I keep telling people to avoid asking their own questions and set out to answer them. No, we are the ones who give you the questions, and you need to show us that you understand the question, because answering your own questions means that you didn't or you don't understand the question, which means if you don't understand the question, you're not likely to answer it the way we want you to answer it. So relevance is very important. You need to invest a considerable amount of time understanding what is required of you. Okay, so don't
I
set.
DM'd you, Doctor, the
Okay,
example.
okay. So don't set your own questions. And if you don't set your own questions, if you invest the right amount of time on understanding the question, you're not likely to be irrelevant. Okay, so this is very important. Again, if you're comprehensive and if you're relevant, I think you will become clear, and clarity is very important. And when we talk about clarity, we talk about ideas, clarity of ideas, no contradiction, no inconsistency, and also clarity when it comes to your handwriting. I have seen very bad, and my handwriting is bad myself, but at least I don't have to clear exams. I don't have to go through the experience of writing exams, not anymore, which means that you need to be a little bit self-conscious about your handwriting, because you can have excellent ideas, but somehow I cannot read what you're writing. So I try my best, but look at the impression that you're leaving with me. It's I don't want to seem a challenge for your the one who grades your paper. It doesn't have to be a challenge. I don't have this is not hieroglyphics where I have to decipher it. No, make it easy for me. Think twice about, I know that you cannot change your handwriting overnight. It doesn't happen overnight, I promise you. But at least you need to kind of perhaps leave enough spaces between the lines so that uh, it can be a little clearer. Um, I mean, the words can be bigger if you think that it's too small, and the likelihood that I understand or read it wouldn't be. So you need to take your handwriting, your bad handwriting for that matter, more seriously, because it can make or break. So this is clarity as far as handwriting is concerned. So if you think very carefully that what I said about these three, considerations, I think you're on your way towards and giving us what we need, not what you want us to need. Let me check what Nawaf is sharing with us. Okay, let me see if I can have and then share it on the screen. Just give me a second.
It would be much better if you just put it in Word, Doctor.
Yeah, let me see. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, doctor.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, let's read it together. I haven't read it myself, so I have to read it. And I would like you to also read it and come up with ideas. Sorry, my vision, I have issues, but that's fine. You're ready, I'm ready, huh? Okay, so remember what we said about those three parameters. We want to be comprehensive, we want to be relevant, and if we're comprehensive and relevant, we can become clear. Okay, let me tell you about things that we help you with close reading questions. We tell you from, we give you signs and indications as from which part of the novel the quotation is. Okay, and there is obviously a marker here, which is the page number. So if I know that it is from pages 19 and 20, are we finishing off? Are we in the development part? Are we in the introductory part? So you need to think of where it is, page what, that can help us. And then together with what you're going to read and what will you understand, it can also help. Of course, you read, like I said, we normally give you the theme or the ideas. So we're saying discuss the themes of sleeplessness, which means that this part is about sleeplessness. There is something about sleeplessness. Loneliness, yes, there is. And there is also, uh, perhaps it's not very clear, the idea of utopia, but utopia can develop out of what he finds and what he discovers. And this is what I say about the part that you're going to build, the part that is not there, that is triggered by the passage. Not everything is in the passage. There are things that the passage triggers and invokes. I'm sorry. طيب. Let me have your thoughts on that, and then I'll talk about it myself. Okay. So when you read it for the first time, you think mistakenly that he is talking to Peter. Obviously, he's not talking to Peter. He is imagining a situation where if Peter was around and what is happening, and the impressions that Peter would have of the place, how lonely it is, and stuff like that. So let me have people on board telling uh, about it, how they think about it. If you would like to come to the mic and share, let's have Nawaf, because he is the one who is asking. Let
Yes,
me
actually,
ask. Yeah.
doctor, I thought the
Yes.
same as you said. I thought it was a message sent from him to his brother, but it turns out no, it's not.
Yeah, it turns out not because I'm telling you this, it's because you perhaps read it for the second or the third time, right?
Yeah, even the text as a form, it looks like a message to his brother. So yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, again, if anything, it teaches us that it wouldn't be enough, and it wouldn't be a waste of time if you read the passage more than once. It's never, I mean, you guys have 3 hours, and 3 hours is so big if you ask me. So you don't have to worry about the time. You need to invest the right amount of time reading the passage. Okay, so what else? Yeah, Nawaf, if
Let
you're
me go
going to
through it again.
approach. Okay, so what did you discover? What do you think you're going to talk about in the passage? Again, with
Obviously,
the
I will
help
talk.
of
Okay.
the prompt, which tells you everything, with the help with the the page markers, the fact that we tell you where it is in the passage, right? And also the ideas within the passage itself. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, yeah. First of all, I will talk about his loneliness because that's obvious in the message,
Mm.
and we can tell how much he feel lonely. So yeah, I will start with that.
Okay, so but you obviously are not going to end there, right? So
No,
it's
no,
not
of
about
course not. Even the
stating that.
question asking more
Mm,
than loneliness.
yes. Okay. Okay. So did you think of key words, key concepts that you're going to develop and you're going to also expand on words like what? Loneliness, perhaps, sleeplessness. What
I will
else?
talk about Utopia, Doctor, because he
Ah,
mentioned it in the question. Yet,
mm.
I have read the novel. It wasn't there so much. Maybe he perceived the garden as his utopia. So yeah, I will discuss this
Yeah, you need to
subject.
remember that no character thinks. I mean, we people in novels, they don't come up with ideas. They don't tell you that we live in utopia. I mean, they live in it, and then you have to figure it out yourself. So saying that there was a utopia of a sort, this is not what Tom perceived or thought of. This is the one of the interpretations. And remember, we said that with literature, interpretation is up for grabs. You can come up with your own interpretations, and you can put it, and people, and you can ask questions about it. So the challenge would be how you can tie in things so that you can prove it, that there was a utopia of a sort, and there is material enough in Tom's Midnight Garden to tell us that there was, and utopia not in a strict sense. A utopia here would mean harking back to better times. Remember what we said about the novel written in post, Second War England, where people were dismayed, where people were disheartened. The situation was not the best, and people obviously felt alienated. And the novel was meant as a statement against that. And the idea that they jumped back to the Victorian age would mean that they are perhaps thinking back of a glorious time where it was time of the empire. I mean, the economic situation obviously was better and stuff like this. Is the utopian. I mean, going back to the past through the garden uh, uh, is bringing this idea of utopia to the fore. Yeah, let's have other people share insights and ideas. Again, this is all speculation. This is all interpretation. So all interpretations are valid as long as you have a solid argument, as long as you're providing examples, you're trying to prove your point. Okay, so Nagwa, go ahead.
In trying to solve this question, I would try to divide it into three main parts: the sleepiness part, the loneliness, and the utopia part. For the sleepiness part, sleeplessness part, I would
Mm,
relate it to how he is in a new environment. He is not
mhm,
accustomed to it, and how this
yes.
is reflecting on him, on his inability to sleep. And also, it can be. I can also include that he is bored. He has nothing to do all day, so he is just sitting there, lying in bed, trying to sleep. But he has those imaginations and hopes for an adventure that is not available to him at that time, especially during the beginning of the novel, since yet he does not discover the Midnight Garden. And I would try to elaborate it from examples of the close reading. And regarding the loneliness part, I would also link it also to him being away, separated from his parents, and that there is no adventure. He misses his brother. He wants an acquaintance to play with him and to have like some good time with them, especially that it is during their vacation, where where it should be like the best time of his life and playing and so on. And also regarding the utopia, I would also link it to. At first, I did not get the idea of linking it to the Victorian age. It was out of my mind, but it is a great way actually to link it to it. And I thought at first linking it to the garden itself, how it was an escape to him and it was an adventure,
Yes.
and there he
Yeah,
meets
very good. Such
and the scenery
yeah,
of
no,
the garden.
very good. And the idea
and
that
meeting her.
you know, when you find solace and consolation, it's normally your own utopia, because it's obviously
Yes,
different from the status quo that you're trying to escape from. Yeah, that's a good point. Go on.
exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
and I would also somehow link it to the ending or the later parts of the novel where he starts to feel that this is a great place to him and he faces a dilemma that he does not want to leave the garden because it brings him so much joy and he is free to do whatever he pleases and like his adventure with Hati, and basically that's it. Like of course I'd try to support my claims with examples from the text, either the close reading or examples that I have from the analysis that I've read.
Can we say that somehow, if we cannot have a physical utopia, we can have an intellectual utopia? Remember what we said, the journey that he went through from ignorance to knowledge. At the beginning, he was, like you have seen, sleepless, feeling lonely, thinking only of the physical separation between him and his brother. But over time, he will develop and mature. And this is his actual utopia, the utopia of becoming more knowledgeable about the world, the utopia of knowing that there is an end for everything, and people have to come to terms with the sad realities of life. Do you think that I'm carrying it to extremes if I said that there is the physical utopia, if we refer back to the Victorian age, and also to the physical garden with its obviously beauties and having a playmate? Can we also say that there was a measure of intellectual utopia towards the end, s- sad and realistic and pragmatic as it was? Yeah, what do you think? This is also an interpretation that just came to me. I mean, every time you read,
Yes.
you can come up with new ideas. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
Najwa.
there are so many ideas. That's the point.
Mm.
Like it could, like with enough development of the analysis or the point that you were talking about, we could somehow, yeah, consider it as a realistic utopia in which like he becomes more aware and the growth itself can be considered a utopia for him because he goes back at the end to like his real life or to the real timeline with like much
New
different
awareness, yes.
personality.
Perspective,
Yes, and
yes.
that he accepts it and that he is okay with it and no, he has a different perspective in life. So that can also, yeah, be considered as one.
Nice, good. Okay, many other people, giving us their perspectives on the same. By the way, we don't have to agree. We can all say different things, but again, there is a core that we have to all stick to, right? Um, any anybody? Yeah, okay. So that's fine. So is it clear to you? Yeah, Nawaf?
Yes, it is clear
Oh,
now.
okay. So it's about, even having this kind of monologue with yourself, inner monologue, if you like, where you talk to yourself before you answer. You have this kind of dialogue with yourself, and then you elaborate on the ideas. Again, the idea of highlighting the key concepts is very important. The idea of also knowing what is it that you're expected to do. Remember, what is nice about close readings in EA300B that is perhaps missing in EA300A and prior courses is the idea that we guide you through by telling you what the themes are, by telling you what we expect you to do, and also by giving you very significant passages. These are very relevant passages, and they are relevant to the arching themes that we've been talking about. Loneliness, the idea of feeling isolated, moving from one place to another, and what this entails and stuff like that. Good. طيب, let's move on. Okay, so let's move to the perhaps the revision part. And like I told you, we don't have the time to, of course, elaborate again, because we have already done that. We cannot do the work of 2 months in only one session or half a session. So it's going to be headlines. And since we're talking about Tom's Midnight Garden, so let's start with Tom's Midnight Garden. Again, the themes and the ideas are clear. We've been talking about them for quite some time. One theme is the one that we have seen when we talk about the idea of loneliness, and why there is loneliness, the shift or the move from one house to another and what it entails. And actually, it's the shift from it's the tripartite kind of shift where we move from one house to the other and then to the garden. Again, it's not only two houses that we're having a third place, which is the magical garden with all it invokes again. And of course, every place has its own peculiarities. When we talk about his mother's house or his parents' house, perhaps it is small or something, but it has the warmth of family life. He has his brother, he has his parents, and obviously, of all the people in the world, he loves them the best. So, and he gets separated from them and he goes to his uncle's house, where obviously it's not the house that he expected. It's perhaps small. It's not, I mean, it was described, or the whole experience was described as some kind of exile. So you don't choose your own. If you travel to a place and you feel that you're exiled or you are actually exiled, you don't choose your own place. Again, you don't have choice here. And if you don't have a choice, it means that you are things are imposed on you, and so it's not the best of conditions. Again, he feels lonely. He doesn't sleep well. And then somehow he finds the garden with all the what the garden opens for him, opportunities, a playmate like no other, the ability to go back to the past and see things he wouldn't have seen, and making those comparisons, listening and empathizing with Hattie and listening to her stories and getting lessons from that. Um, Again, reveling in the ability to engage in the life of fantasy and imagination, momentarily leaving the realistic, drab world that we live in, and live in a life of the imagination where life is obviously different there. Whatever is impossible can be possible with fantasy, and again, it's very thrilling. It's very fascinating. And it's very invigorating because with the new awareness and the new energies that you develop and have and take in from this, you go back to real life and face the challenges head on, because you're now more energized and more perhaps able to accept the challenges of real life. So it's a journey of learning. He learned a lot. He developed and And I always say that the Tom that we see at the end is totally different from the Tom that we see at the beginning of the novel. So again, Tom's Midnight Garden is a metaphorical journey from ignorance to knowledge, from a state of crude innocence, if you like, to a state of knowledge, to a state of realization, uh, and knowledgeability about the world. Again, this is all empowered and fueled by the tools of fantasy and the imagination, and we have so many examples where the imagination is invoked and is playing a very major role in helping the action develop. What else about Tom's Midnight Garden? Again, the centrality of the character of Hattie in developing the events. Again, had it not been for Hattie, we wouldn't have the novel, and perhaps this is one big reason why I insist that perhaps in a different world, the novel would have been titled Hattie's Midnight Garden. Again, spoke about gender roles. We spoke about how instrumental and how transformative Hattie is. And again, lots of things about Hattie. Hattie is not a mere device that is there for for Tom to develop and mature. She has a life of her own. Again, the character of Hattie is so important on different levels. What else about Tom's Midnight Garden? Again, the idea of the garden and the idea of trees and what they mean, and the idea of symbolism throughout the novel. These are also very important, and again, they help a great deal in the development of events in the novel. So remind me, what else did we talk about with Tom's Midnight Garden?
The solace and
Whom? What?
Mariam, the solace doctor and the um, um, إيش
The
اسمها؟
what?
I forget the
Okay, that's fine.
الحنين إلى الماضي. I forget the name in English.
Nostalgia, you mean?
أيوة, nostalgia. Yes,
Yeah.
nostalgia. And
But
the
who
rest.
is nostalgic here? Who's nostalgic? I mean, the whole project is about nostalgia. Again, it's the writer's nostalgia, right? And the characters are tools. They, or perhaps excuses to go to the past, right?
Yes,
So
but
the
doctor.
nostalgia, yeah, is with the writer. He or she, and rather, is not very happy with the state of affairs in the country, where obviously we're talking about post-war, situation where perhaps things are scarce, perhaps there is unemployment, perhaps there were promises made before and during and after the war and that were never fulfilled. So yeah, Yeah, the writer is nostalgic.
Doctor,
And obviously the
is
reference is to the Victorian age where obviously the English or the British Empire was at its peak. They were rich, they were very powerful, and everything in between. Yes, Marie.
is the writer characterized or present the nostalgia in Hattie character?
Yeah, Hattie is also a tool. Yeah, the story of Hattie and the different generation, and the fact that she herself is from that period. Yeah, she is a representation of that glorious past, if you think it is glorious. Yes. Okay. So let's move on because obviously we have a lot to cover. Let's move to the other side of truth. And let's start with you because we spoke about a lot. Um, the other side of truth, if you think, if you can think back of the ideas that you have highlighted, remember? Yeah, Nagwa, go ahead.
Yes, so the one of some of the main ideas or themes that we discussed in the other side of truth are the truth itself and the meaning of truth, and how it was like mentioned in a couple of scenes as a facilitator for the for truth and how important it is and the vital role it plays in information and also the dangers of truth as we saw when Solarin's journalistic ideas or claims caused resulted in the death of Said and Femi's mother and how it can be dangerous at
So
times.
obviously, I mean, truth, let me just correct this. Truth can never be dangerous. What is dangerous about truth is you need to know. So obviously, we're talking about, revealing the truth about something, perhaps exposing falsehoods, which is obviously the opposite of truth telling, right? So um, truth is not dangerous in and of itself. Revealing the truth is not dangerous in and of itself. What is dangerous is the time and the means. You need to know when and how you can reveal the truth, and you need to know how and when you can reveal and expose falsehoods. And this is the problem that we have with the father, right? It is true that he is very truthful, he is honest, and he wants to expose the dishonesty of other people. The problem with him is that he hasn't chosen the right time and he hasn't chosen the right place, right? And that result was very catastrophic. So we had bad or negative consequences. The fact that his wife had to, got assassinated, and he has to kind of flee the country, and he has to also to kind of take his kids out of the country for their safety. Yeah, go on, Inago. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No problem. It's actually beneficial, like your comments. And we also discussed child agency and how
Mm.
Said had to deal with how she was first of all described as a young individual who did not know how to cope up with things, and then when they were abandoned in London, how she had to take action, step up, and like care for her brother. And she also was one of the main reasons who led to their father's release, like when she went and she tried speaking the truth and publicize their story. We also have like an important theme
Before
which,
you proceed, let me talk about this idea of child agency, because
yeah,
you
sure.
don't expect children to have agency, at least at this very young age. You don't expect them. You expect them to go to school, to do their homework and stuff like that. But you're not requiring them to take high stake decisions to change the world. So children have agency because they sometimes they are put in situations where they have to have agency, and this is exactly what happened with Shade. The fact that she had to, otherwise she's a normal young school girl who is expected to go to school and be good at her school subjects, and that would be it. So children's agency is not something that children want or crave for or hope for. It is imposed on them because the society that they are in normally fails them. So they have to go out of their way and take matters into their own hands. This is the difference perhaps between child agency and any other agency that we talk about when we talk about women agencies, for example, obviously, or black agency for that matter. So what children are forced to take up this kind of agency and become and go and try to take matters into their own hands. Again, it's because the society that they operate in fail them. Yeah, go on, Yani. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we also have like different ideas of the difficulties that they faced. Abandonment, the bullying was one of the important themes also in the story. We also have a theme that is the role of adults and how it is portrayed differently. How some they were let down by some adults, such as the uncle and their parents, or the lady, I forgot her name, who was supposed to take care of them when they first reached to London, and how their father also the important role that he played, that he was trying to keep them safe, although his actions led to some consequences, but he was always there trying to do what's best for his children, and then writing them
You
letters, and
mean
then during
that
the
would go
reunion.
under the banner of adult responsibility towards children, or
Yes, exactly. We have
perhaps
two different ones.
society's responsibility towards children, parents' responsibility towards their own children, right?
Yes, we
Yes,
have different
yes,
examples, as I
yes.
mentioned, and also we have some positive and negative examples.
Hmm.
We also have another important theme, which is the role of media
Hmm.
and like speaking, public speaking. We see that, as we mentioned in Solarin's The Father, when he tries to like spread knowledge and information, how it is met with consequences. And we also see Said and her attempts to like publicize her father's trial and spread awareness about the matter and the issue, and how she goes to several newspapers and so on, and how this helps in spreading the truth and correct
Yes, the
information.
idea of media is so tied to so many things in the novel. So media is about truth telling, for example. Media is about where media is. I mean, obviously, media in Nigeria is different from media in England, and its rules, what is expected of it, and then you provide examples. Media in Nigeria, for example, is sheer and mere propaganda, while in England it is one way of educating you and also one way of helping you if you're helpless, and exposing corruption if something is corrupt. So this is media in democratic society. So you need to make those comparisons if you're going to talk about media and its role. You need to talk about this idea of honesty and this idea of fearless reporting in the case of the father, and again about when and how you can expose corruption as a media individual. He is a journalist, and journalism is under media. Again, that would also bring us to the idea of truth telling, and the fact that and moral. Remember when we spoke about this idea of moral absolutism. Moral absolutism means that you do only the right thing, no matter what. Uh, 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 and sometimes doing the right thing at the wrong time can be very catastrophic. So sometimes when we teach our children to stick to the truth, we need to also put them in situations where that are not very ideal. They are that are not very perfect, and see how they are going to behave. And then you talk to them about this idea of showing flexibility, of showing, resourcefulness with dealing with these situations where being absolute in your judgment is not the right thing to do. So we have seen that, of course, with the character of Shade. She was born and raised against one single principle, the idea of absolute honesty, absolute truthfulness. But there were situations in the novel where telling the truth would mean putting her father's life on the line, endangering her father. So she started to have those moral dilemmas. Should I stick to what my father and my mother told me to tell the truth no matter what, or should I be economical with this kind of truth momentarily so that I can save and spare the life of my father? So this idea of moral absolutism obviously is not functioning. This idea of you can tie it in with this idea of truth telling, and this is again part of the whole project of truth telling that the novel is grappling with. Yeah, Nagwa, anything else?
No, those are the information that I have right now.
Yes, and also moral ambiguity. And moral ambiguity is also sometimes the lines are blurry between what is right and what is wrong. And again, this does not happen in normal life situation. It happens at times of crisis, and they have had their share of crises, I promise you, in their lives. I mean, Shade and her brother and the whole family. That's interesting. Type, let's take like a 10-minute break, and then when we come back, we take the other two works and call it a day. I'll see you in 10 minutes, inshallah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes, doctor.
good. Fine. Let's now move on to the picture books, and let's start with Voices in the Park. So what is the first thing that comes to mind when I say Voices in the Park? Traditional piece of work? Is it traditional in any way?
No, doctor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
It
not
talks about
tradition.
four people, each one experience the park in his own adventure
Way. Well,
or
and
way.
relating this to us in a narrative, and obviously this is not what we're used to. We're used to one monolithic narrative where we're taken hostage by this kind of narrative, right? Only one single narrator, and for the most part, third person, omniscient, all knowing, and all seeing. And obviously, this is not what we have in Voices in the Park, where we have four different narrators. Again, they are addressing the self-same situation, and they are narrating the self-same events. And obviously, if anything, that this tells us the truth is not absolute. I mean, you can approach the same event, or you can encounter the same things, but what comes out would be different. The results, perhaps, the impressions, the takeaways are obviously different. Yeah, Ihda, you were saying something. Go ahead.
No,
Okay,
doctor.
Yazan. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Ihda.
No, no, doctor. Uh,
Okay, fine. Yazan, you wanted to elaborate, perhaps?
I want to ask, this story is tradition or not tradition?
Yeah, like I said, it's not traditional at all because we have four narrators, not one single narrator, as we're used to. I mean, we're so trained on the idea of having one single narrator, again, monopolizing the talk, giving things from his or her own perspective, and sticking labels to the characters, not giving us the opportunity to judge for ourselves. This is obviously not happening in Voices in the Park, where we have four different characters who are also four different narrators. Again, they tell us things from their own perspective, and together with those narrations, we also have the background, the symbolic background, the changing of seasons, the changing of background colors, and the changing of the places within the park. They all contribute towards giving us this idea of this clarity when it comes to our perceptions and assessment of the whole experience. Okay, so this is one of the things that strikes us as perhaps unfamiliar, and hence perhaps the vibrance and the beauty of this piece of work. Again, because of this diversity of narrators, we also have a variety of themes and ideas. One of them would be class disparity, the fact that we have an income disparity, the fact that we have people in high places in terms of class, and we also have low class individuals like the father and Smudge, his daughter, and of course the mother and Charles, her son, would be those who belong to the upper class. And again, each of the classes is keeping to itself, except for the fact that children are trying to kind of go beyond those class boundaries, and they are trying to reach out to each other. Uh, um, Again, when we talk about voices in the park, we talk about this idea of gender role reversals, where obviously women should keep to their role as submissive, as lacking of voice or a voice, and men should be muscular, should be manly, should take on the world. And obviously, this is not what we're seeing. We're seeing a reversal of roles where the girl is obviously taking matters into her own hands. She's the one who is trying to reach out to the other class. She is trying to cheer her father up because he is unemployed. She is the one who initiated the conversation with the boy, trying to take him out of the self-imposed bubble that he lives in. Voices in the Park is also intertextual. Remember when we spoke about intertextuality as a feature of the postmodern life literature, where obviously there is or there are allusions and references to other works of art, to other literary works, to the cinema snapshots from there. This is called intertextuality, and part of this intertextuality is visual intertextual. And these are all features of the postmodern in this picture book. Spoke also about the idea of anthropomorphism, the fact that voices in the park is also anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphism is a practice, a literary practice where you give animals the qualities and the attributes of human beings. They love, they hate, they do pretty much what human beings do. And this kind of practice goes all the way back to Aesop in ancient Greece. But perhaps the difference would be that Voices in the Park is not a fable, where we don't have moralizing or a moral lesson embedded. You can come up with your own moral lessons, but the writer does not impose that on us, does not say that she has that he has a moral lesson. Um, so it's not a fable, but it's a kind of anthropomorphic still. And again, the choice of the gorillas of all the other animals is also very important. Again, for obvious reasons, gorillas are the closest to human beings in terms of perhaps thinking, if thinking is the right word that I'm using with animals, um, and also the fact that they are kind of huge, and this is that would strike a personal note because of the affinity that the writer has with his father, and his father is obviously was a fan of animals, and he was also big. Perhaps there is a relationship there. Again, Voices in the Park. Again, using animals would kind of uh, desensitize us towards the characters, would also create this kind of distance away from this idea of deep involvement with the characters, whether in a positive or a negative way. So it is meant to kind of tell us that remember that this is a piece of work where you shouldn't have perhaps if you as an audience a member of the audience is a high class audience or reader, and you are reading about a character who belongs to the same class, you may have biases towards him or her, judging him or her on those merits. And correspondingly, if you're high class and the character involved is not high class, you may have prejudice against him or her. So in order to break this judgment and this bias cycle or circle, the writer opted to have animals so that you don't have those feelings of bias towards the characters because of their class, because of their gender, because of their demographics. So this is interesting. What else did we say about the about voices in the park? We spoke also about this this kind of um, integration of the pictures and the text, and how you cannot really understand and appreciate, the picture book unless you fully engage with the pictures. And again, pictures are not about the portraits that we have of characters or landscapes. No, I mean, there is obviously more to picture books than just portrayed characters and portrayed landscapes. But we also have colors that are symbolic of moods, of experiences. You have shifting seasons that are indicative, again, of situations on those picture books, life moments and milestones and yardsticks. Uh, you also have how characters and other objects are portrayed on the page. Are they in the center, or are they in the peripheries, uh, at the margins, indicating something? Again, the size of the characters, big or small, can tell you all the difference. Whether the characters are facing each other, or perhaps giving each other their backs, as we have seen in one of the situations, the mom and her son. Again, it's a measure of perhaps distance, and how the mother is so big and she's looming so uh, 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 largely, and again, it tells us that she is perhaps domineering and she's a control freak, while her son is portrayed in the same picture as very small, very vulnerable. Again, an indication that he doesn't have a will of his own. He is being tossed up and down by his mom. He doesn't have a say in what is happening. Again, you look at how those four characters wrote their narratives, and the kind of fonts that they are using, the kind of handwriting that they are using. These are all symbols, and these are all things that you link with the visual part of the picture book. So they can tell you a great deal. Remember what we said also about these paratextual elements, that now reading those paratextual elements can also make a difference. Paratextual elements would include biographical details about the author before the story starts, copyright information, publication information, date and publishing house, and all those kinds of things. They can contribute towards a full understanding and appreciation of the picture book. So this is as far as Voices in the Park is concerned. Let's now move to the tale of Peter Rabbit. This is how we started, and this is what we started with. Again, it's a picture book like no other, now a classic. Again, anthropomorphic because the characters involved are mostly uh, bunnies or rabbits, and except for some other animals and a human being who is Mr. McRuger. Again, this picture book is also uh, again, I said it's a classic, and everybody talks about it in terms of the images that it projects and the issues and the themes that it addresses. One of them would be the idea of gender roles and whether those gender roles are the traditional ones that we're familiar with or not. And the answer is yes. When you look at the sisters of Peter, you find them submissive, obedient. They don't say no. They don't resist whatever their mom says. They kind of follow and do. While Peter is a typical male, a character that we have seen so often in children's literature, where you normally have a boy who is taking on the world, moving around, meeting all types of challenges, and somehow surmounting and overcoming them and coming back totally different, totally initiated, more manly than he can ever be. So this is what we have seen. Of course, there were brief moments of scare, of fear that we have seen in the eyes and in the actions of Peter when he was running away for his life from Mr. McGruger, but he is still the the traditional boy who takes on the world and goes on adventure. Again, the debate remains on how we can think of Peter. Is Peter a curious child like all the children that we're familiar with, motivated by his curiosity and nothing else? Or is he perhaps a freedom fighter trying to perhaps take revenge from the one who had his father killed and turned into a pie? Perhaps he is decolonizing the place because Mr. McRuger can be a representation of white people always and everywhere, colonizing places and laying claim to lands. You can think of this kind of fight between the different interpretations the way you like, as long as you can prove it. So is he the curious child that we're so familiar with, or is he a freedom fighter or a rebel? Or so again, that remains um, a very raging debate, like I'm saying. When you talk about the character of Tom, again, uh, um, we have examples of, uh, you know, disobedience in his character and in his action. Again, we need to also look at the images and the pictures because they can tell you a great deal about what what he is and what he stands for and what his sisters are and what they stand for. I mean, they they are always portrayed in different directions, an indication that he doesn't follow and that he has his own way of doing stuff. Again, you need to also think of the centrality of the image. And for a full appreciation of the picture book, there should be a total engagement with the pictures, with the backgrounds, with how the characters are portrayed centrally or marginally, with the sizes of the characters and the angle of vision through which we're giving glimpses into them. These are all things that we need to think. These are codes that we need to crack. We need to understand them. We need to apply them and think of them and detect them in the picture. I think this is all what I have for now and for the whole thing. So if you have any remaining questions, come to the mic before we call it a night.
Actually, no question, Doctor. All clear. And thank you very much, Doctor, for
Thank you. Okay.
helping us before the exam, and thank you for all what you give all summer semester for us through this.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, Mariam, and thank you, everyone. Well, this is, of course, it's not, inshallah, it shouldn't be the end. We're meeting, perhaps the context will be different when we meet in life, yeah, inshallah. I wish you all the best, and I know that you'll do the best you could, and you're going to make me proud. Thank you so much, and I'll see you, inshallah. Salam
Dr.
alaikum.
Sameh.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
Yes, thank
Go
you for
ahead.
your time. Thanks for being with us during this journey. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Doctor, for everything that
Thank
you
you,
have
Dr.
offered
for
us.
شوف على خير بقى
thank you, Dr. Sam.
ونتقابل. الله يكرمك يا شكرا يا زلمة enable with النجوى and everyone. يلا شوف على خير إن شاء الله. السلام عليكم.
Have a good day, Doctor.
لا كويس. السلام.